We have our incredible guest, Kassandra Keel. Kassandra is a point of origin igniter, cosmetics entrepreneur, wealth ecosystem cultivator. She's also a founder of Seedcoin. Seedcoin is a creator coin focused on bridging the gap for entrepreneurs into the world of Web3. Kassandra, thank you for being here with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys.
As most of our members know, we have Michael Swan, our co-founder of Unido, ex-Goldman Sachs VP, and venture capitalist. So it's great to have you guys here. Well, let's dive right in. Kassandra, could you give our listeners who are unaware of what creator coins are a brief overview of what a creator coin is and what Seedcoin is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think first, kind of frame it up, I think it's a hot topic. We have everything from NFTs to creator coins to stable coins. So the jargon can be a little bit confusing, but as a hybrid entrepreneur, I really looked at all the different landscapes of all the different options as we start to move into Web3. And one of the things that really called to me is, we think about Web 1 as read, right? We think about Web 2 as write. Web 2, you've got the Instagram and the Facebook. And what really pulled towards me with Web 3 is reward. And so Creator Coin for me just made sense, right? And so the community is called the Growth Guild. And if we think about a guild, it is a permaculture where all the parts and the units of the ecosystem make the entity its strongest, right? And so that is the fundamental basis of the meaning behind the Growth Guild. And then obviously the currency is the seed coin. So the idea is for hybrid entrepreneurs, creatives, coaches to be able to come in and use a different kind of currency through the coin to be able to not only have access to the utility, but to really enter into a community that is pioneering what I call greener pastures into transitioning out of this top-down ecosystem into a bottom-up ecosystem. So creator coins are just really a form of currency, right? It's cryptocurrency that's a digital form of currency that is a sidestep out of the outdated middlemen kind of ecosystem that we've been a part of for so many years, and it's taking back our ownership of our ecosystems and what we want to create in the world.
Could you give us a bit of a description about some of the features or services or products that members or holders of the Seedcoin get access to?
So there's a few layers. First, understand that the seed coin is a part of another ecosystem. The coin and the tokenized coin kind of came from Rally, right? So Rally kind of created the system where creators, coaches, whoever you were, artists, could come in and create their own personalized coin. The utility and the underpinning of that is great because it already has liquidity built into my coin because it is built into an ecosystem that also has a utility and a liquidity behind it. Oftentimes when somebody starts a new project, they're starting from the floor up, right? So it already has movement behind the currency of the ecosystem. So the way that we've set up the Growth Guild and the way I'm setting up is really in momentum right now, and it's going to build layer by layer. And when I look at the Entrepreneur 4.0 and what we're transitioning into, what I call an ecosystem of Entrepreneurs 5.0, is many, many, many layers. So if we look at like the first ecosystem is tribal, it was the hunter and gatherer. And then we moved into the agrarian, industrial, informational age. And so the Society 5.0 age is where people will come in, they will have the utility. So as a hybrid entrepreneur, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I do energy work with quantum biofeedback, which is a very advanced technology where I can read the field and remove resistance in the field for everybody that's a part of the experience. I have courses on how to get into flow as a high-level entrepreneur and how to stay in flow. And what I mean by that is that Entrepreneur 5.0. And so you really start to dial into the IoT, the Internet of Things, and then also these super layers that you guys are also doing with Unity, right? You're creating safety metrics, you're putting it back into the SMB's hand as you are so beautifully doing. Well, we're kind of doing the same thing with, small businesses and solopreneurs. So for me, the foundation of the utility is really to help entrepreneurs stop fixing themselves and start to understand how to manage their energy, how to reduce burnout, especially in Web3 because it's moving fast, and to create an ecosystem that was a safe place as things pop up, as stress pops up, that they have a well-educated and strong foundation of someone that understands trauma and how trauma comes up in our business, matched with all of the education that they're going to need about Web3 as fast as it's moving, continuing to give the workshops that they need to really get their business up and running in Web3 as fast as possible as well. So perks, delights, we'll give free airdrops. But here's a really, really awesome thing that most entrepreneurs are going to have access to once it's set up and going is a SaaS company. And it is a SaaS software where if we look at Web 2, we look at Instagram, we look at Facebook, we look at these ecosystems that we have to pay to play. And what's happening with this social graph is this SaaS software, now this then brings up the conversation of what's the difference between a creator coin and an NFT. I own 25 giraffes. I like giraffes. I don't love giraffes. But I bought 25 giraffes, which were not cheap, to get access. I'm layering in now to get access to the utility of the NFT. Now, the NFTs are variable, right? NFTs have a very certain specific rarity to them that makes them different and valuable in their own right. And while that's great, they're registered on the blockchain so that Gary knows that I can then use the utility of the SaaS software. So every single time somebody in my ecosystem retweets something, every single time a creator in my economy goes and opens an email and takes action on it, to me, going back to the Entrepreneur 5.0, it's an ecosystem of creating quality versus quantity. So you're getting the instant dopamine hit of taking action on whatever you're wanting to grow in your own life, but then you're also getting rewarded for it instantly because I'm watching them across every single platform versus the platform owning it, and I have to natively go and look at all those metrics. Everything is feeded through that one SaaS software, so they're making it super easy for me to help my entrepreneurs' growth. So I have a creator coin, I also own NFTs, and I bring it together to create this beautiful system to reward everybody in the ecosystem. Does that make sense?
So I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it a bit. So it's a bit of a software as a service where community members get access to certain tools and educational assets. Is that more or less?
So it's software as a service, as in it gives me the capabilities to go to a back-end engine and see exactly who owns my coin, who may be swapping my coin, who I want to reward for opening my email. I can see them on Twitter. So if I say, hey guys, we're doing this 5-day challenge, and everybody that goes and right now goes and retweets this Twitter feed, think about it. So the SaaS software is allowing me to create a referral and a network effect that's so strong by all the people in my community that's then retweeting it to their ecosystems and their community that see it. And you're creating this magnification of a strong brand that, like, wait a minute, like every single time this creator like retweets something, or I mean, you can see this whole now network of everybody of the seed economy moving around the internet, taking action together, that then creates that network effect of everybody in their ecosystems. So I can see everything that they do and reward them for it.
And these would result in discounted products and services and that sort of thing, or what would they redeem these for?
Awesome question. Awesome question. So that's up to the creator, right? Some people give access to their courses. So for me, I have one seed. Everybody from this episode will be invited into the ecosystem. You will get full access to the Discord channel, the chats, things of that nature, free airdrops, things like that. And then we have a 10 seed, and that 10 seed is within a bundle. And that will give you access to weekly biofeedback sessions and ritual intention sessions that are 20 minutes a week. We set the intention, what we're doing, I read it in the biofeedback. That's a service from me. And then whoever shows up from that software I was talking about, I can see exactly who showed up because they show up on my Zoom because it's connected to Zoom as well. And then I can go into their wallet and I can drop them seed coin for showing up. Then the 100 level is group hypnotherapy and access to my courses and many, many other things. But all of those top tier levels I'm building because I want to listen to the community and see what they want and what they need.
Interesting. So it's a bit of the more engagement that your users have with your seed coin, the more access they get to features in the platform.
Yes. Yep, exactly. So it'll unlock, courses if they just show up and actually retweet and make movement on whatever that is what they're wanting to do. I want to reward them for taking action. They could gift themselves all the way to my top tier and never pay $1. And at the same time, gain, it's not an investment, but gain while others join the community. And not only is their quality and the seed coin value going up, but they're also just getting free access to upper levels by just taking action. So you can pay to play and go and buy seed tokens, or you can just enact in the community and gain your way there that way. It's wide open.
Do you guys see a world where SaaS fees are getting replaced by structures such as this, where there's more engagement with the community?
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of SaaS companies out there, but I will tell you, I don't think they're going to be as strong as what Gary has created. You see a lot of people trying to connect different things across different networks, but I think SaaS will definitely go this way. It doesn't mean that you can't use it if you don't own Giraffe. The giraffes are pretty much sold out at this point. So he will create different ecosystems that, if you're not a coin creator or an NFT creator, he will have that for a quote unquote what we call a normie, right? That they can use it, but you will pay for it. You'll pay a 12% if you don't have any utility or access to the community already. Then you'll just say you pay a percentage in what you bring in through your coin value.
You touched on this a little bit earlier. Could you explain the difference between a creator coin and any other typical cryptocurrency or NFT?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion surrounding the difference between creator coins and NFTs. So as we know, if many people don't know, an NFT is non-fungible, right? So NFTs are very unique. Creator coins can have the same value as others. So in a sense, the creator coins function like airline points, right? So as an NFT, it's more kind of like a digital ownership, and you can have digital record that you own it. You get that receipt that this is yours, it's registered on Solana, this is your giraffe or your ape or whatever that piece of art is. And so they're called creator coins because each individual or business can essentially create their own currency. Whereas an NFT, as I shared, I own 25 giraffe that are all variable. Now I could go and sell one of those giraffe and somebody may love my giraffe that has a queen crown on it with her tongue sticking out. They're like have an emotional pull towards that. I could go and sell that, right? And I could make, I think the Ape Club is making some hundreds and thousands of dollars on one ape, right? And so you could sell the NFT, or I can hold my NFT and get access to the utility behind holding those giraffes. If I let go of 2 giraffes, I lose complete utility to the SaaS software. So Gary's using these different layers of not only having a tokenized coin community, but then he's also built in a layer of also having regenerative pieces of artwork that owners can have and get access to create more utility, more liquidity in his project overall. So creator coins can have an NFT that can, but you just want to be really clear with your community where people are just stepping into this. You don't want to confuse them. So most people choose either a creator coin that are more focused on that kind of community, or they're doing NFTs, and we're seeing a lot of that right now. But also that is also really, really going down because we had so many NFTs and then they all burnt out and they didn't give the utility that they promised. So people got burnt out, and now they have to kind of really go back into how do you create value, whether you have an NFT or a coin. At the end of the day, money is when wealth is when all the money is gone. You have to create value and create value cycles in the market. So.
So it almost lends itself as a membership card as well. Some of these creator coins.
Yep, absolutely. Think of it like a glorified membership. But again, I think we'll see a lot of entrepreneurs try to just bring their memberships over and just create a creator coin, and that's great. But you really have to honor what Web3 is, right? I think we really have to honor what Web3 is, how fast it's moving, what that means for you as a creator, and how you become your own economy. I mean, the iOS updates made people own their data and data mine their own data. And so you have to start to understand, how do you continue to create value in your economy? And it's Web3 is not the same as Web 1 or Web 2.
Wow. It's a lot to unpack because it's like it's membership, it's SaaS fees, it's affiliate, an affiliate network almost, so to speak. It's like a lot bundled up into one thing, really.
I talk a lot about regenerative businesses, having your business love you back. I mean, we're all entrepreneurs here, right? How often do we feel like we're a slave to our business versus creating an ecosystem and a business that loves us the F back and we feel enriched by our business? You created your job, and you also are creating solutions to problems in the ecosystem, but you're more about quality, not just quantity. If you try to run these systems in a Web 2 ecosystems of just about numbers, you will likely rug your community, where you have to you got to slow down and really create the quality of that ecosystem. So.
Michael, do you feel like at times you can feel like a slave to Unido and slaving away?
Any business, you sometimes, especially in the early stages, feel like a slave. Look, listening to all of this, it's a really interesting use, and I mean, I've banged on about it for ages now, that there is so much more than cryptocurrency to blockchain. And a lot of this is the lack of education, especially for businesses, small and medium enterprises. Well, what can I do other than own Bitcoin for capital appreciation, or maybe take payments? And what, coming in as a traditional VC, what I'm hearing from Kassandra is, and if we break this down a little bit, especially for individual professionals, how do you build a business beyond your 24 hours you have in a day? Maybe you work 8 hours, maybe you work 15 hours a day, to build relationships and build a scalable business. If you look at a health professional, you build an individual relationship with someone, they pay for a service, they may or may not spread the word about you, regardless of how good the service is, and it's somewhat transactional. So the concept of building an ecosystem around your core service that both incentivizes and rewards, and you have a clear feedback system, as Kassandra was saying, monitoring who clicks through and is active on her emails, whatever, whether it's a sales pitch or it's information, what have you, the level of engagement, being able to track and rewarding people for this incentivizes them to participate, but also to spread the word because they're incentivized by owning the coin. And as she said, there's capital appreciation elements to those ownership as well. So it's a really interesting concept, and we've had a few founders on recently looking at the application and what you can do with blockchain. You're our first one on regarding creator coins, but what my takeaway from this is someone without a whole heap of resources, we're not talking about large corporations, these are sole traders in some instances, can build an effective ecosystem around their service and engage their current client base, engage more thoroughly, and engage beyond their current client base with simple tool sets. And you remove, like you say, the juggernauts of LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook and everyone, and have direct interactions with your community. And those direct interactions, and where they're measurable and you can see your level of engagement, builds a better business at the end of the day. That's what's exciting in your example, but I'm sure we could sit down with thousands of applications very similar to this for creator coins, and I guess that's what I'd like our listeners and everyone who takes part, and to think about, well, how could this apply to my business? We've had lots of examples. Katrina was on talking about tokenization of water rights a few weeks ago. So these are very broad examples of how a blockchain works, both for setting up your system, but then the liquidity events and the tokenization trading options. It's so simple to get involved as a small business. You just need the right tools and you need the education. So it's another great example of putting blockchain to use without needing ridiculous amounts of infrastructure, and really increase the quality of your engagement with your clients. And it's scalable, so you bring in more clients. It makes a lot of sense.
I really appreciate that, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, for SMBs and whatnot. And really, I think wonderful podcasts like this and offering opportunities like this. The biggest context, right, is for people to see kind of where things are going, slow it down, right, and start to rethink about, okay, well, what does this uniquely mean for me? Water rights, amazing. NFTs, having capabilities of putting your mortgage on an NFT and then putting it on the blockchain, amazing. Every industry is going to have what that looks like for them. And then you got to go break the shit out of it and figure out what works and then bring it back and see who actually likes it. For me, I have to do all the heavy work right now to help people get a digital wallet. So what am I doing? I'm taking fiat. I'm saying, I'm going to give you this bundle deal. I'm going to give you a great deal. I'm going to go and do the work for you. And then over the next 3 months, we're going to teach you how to get a wallet. We're going to talk to you about what Web3 is. Otherwise, you'll scare people off. They'll just be like, I don't understand it. It's a bear market. This scares me. I'm not interested, but thanks. I just want to give you my money. But little do they know, the way we transact and do currency is going to also quickly change. So I can't, and you can't, I know for you and the investment that you put into your business, I can't turn to what this is, because the context for all of us is so huge, but it also takes great responsibility, right? Money is slowing down. It's slowing time down enough that you get people's attention, and then that attention has to turn to trust. And that trust has to then turn into currency. But if you can't get people to pay attention to you in a non-unicorn way and creating quality and sustainability, then you'll never build trust in the market, and you'll continue to have boom and bust cycles.
Totally agree. This is an education matter. I mean, this is not a new technology at the end of the day. It's well over a decade. It's tried and trusted.
Right.
We've been through cycles relating to a few leading coins, let's face it, that are sentiment driven. You've seen crashes based on people tweeting things. Now, that's because it is an immature market. But if you look at what's happened over the last year with the traditional financial institutions, no one's particularly diving headfirst in, but people are taking steps. The large operators, JP Morgans of the world, these are clever guys. They understand where finance is going, and they're taking preparatory steps to evolve into the Web3 environment. It's an education process. It takes time. And all I can encourage our listeners are, don't wait till there's a cutoff point. Learn about it now. It's not mainstream, but let's admit it. We're not yet mainstream, in cryptocurrency especially. However, the technology is proven. I think we'd have to consider after a decade, it's not going anywhere. This is the future of finance. You can get prepared now and understand the basics and preparation, like having wallets. things like that, the technology element, the infrastructure element, or you can play catch up as a business in a couple of years, maybe a few years, maybe 18 months, maybe a decade, who knows? Who wants to play catch up when you're behind your competitors who have got these solutions? It's education, and it takes a bit of bravery, and it takes a bit of and you know, you need to initiate yourself and get involved. That's what Joe and I do week to week to educate people of what people are doing out there. This is the new, you know, everyone we've had on is essentially pioneering in their industry a new way of doing business and engaging with their clients. You know, we're going to get to a point where it's more common than not. And, you know, imagine going to the shops without a credit card. In Australia, they banned cash during COVID. You had to use credit cards. If you didn't have a credit card because you're behind the ball, you're not eating, right? Preparation is key.
You're so right on that. And, you know, what's so interesting about that, then you could also say, well, you know, I've read many things, and I'm sure, Michael, you study other businesses just as much as I do, and then you see things like, well, you know, credit cards are kind of getting clunky, and, you know, so the people way out there are even looking at credit cards like it's just, you can entirely get ripped off. They're kind of clunky. You have to pay all these middlemen charges, and I'm like, you're right. Never, even 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been like, you can't take a credit card away from people, but I'm like, oh, blockchain. You can, you know, trust the salience of, you can't hide. It's just like my biofeedback services. People are like, I'm like, sorry, can't hide. So it sets up for finance, especially. You know, we don't want Big Brother. I think we all can confide at that, but there still needs to be trust in the market because we don't want that. But I love that, you know, I can see who's supporting me, who goes and swaps out my coin, and that's cool. That's your right? So, Michael, question for you. Do you find that in your part of the world, you know, that the speed of adaptability to Unido is different in other parts of the world? Kind of what's been your experience with that and talking to different business owners, SMBs, et cetera? Because their head is down. SMBs are very busy. They don't always understand profit and loss sheets, and then you're telling them you're going to pop them on the blockchain. So what has been your experience with that?
So with the sentiment in the market now, it's not everyone's favorite topic to get ahead of the curve. What I find is effective, or the most level of engagement, is geographical basis. There are markets that are underbanked. I remember I was in Vietnam just before the COVID lockdown. I paid for dinner with Bitcoin. There's plenty of restaurants which will take Bitcoin that you transfer. I did it essentially as a novelty to try it because I had Vietnamese cash on me at the time. But the willingness of businesses over there due to an underbanked economy, and then you go to other third world countries which have sizable businesses in those, and they're looking for real payment alternatives because taking US dollars in Africa is not practical. Buying supplies cross-border with American cash, there's a million issues trying to do that. The markets that need financial services and underbanked markets are the ones that want to know about crypto immediately. It always comes down to pain points, right? In Australia, I can go with my credit card to most shops. It's very straightforward. I've got my tap on my phone. It's effective most of the time. For a small in-house domestic transaction. An example I always give of my pain point for tokenomic, my VC, we had to pay a legal fee in the British Virgin Islands. To get the money to the lawyer, I had to do a SWIFT transfer that bounces from the US to Puerto Rico and landed in, I think it was a Gibraltar-based bank. I went to the largest commercial bank in the country here and asked for a multi-leg SWIFT transfer, and they said they don't do those anymore because there is a risk. It drops through so many banks, money goes missing, which I thought, trying to run a commercial business, that's insane. How do I pay for this bill? Or I could have received a wallet and had settled the bill well, if it's Ethereum, 30 minutes. If it was Bitcoin, a few minutes,
Right.
without anyone in the
Yeah.
middle. This concern of banks losing money on multi-leg SWIFT transfers, there's nothing to be
Yep.
lost, as we all know, on a distributed ledger technology. Um, so to answer your question, coming back, the people that are most engaged and want to talk about these infrastructure solutions, such as our wallet, are the underbanked. There is a huge need for these things, and I suppose they will be the markets that really go mainstream the soonest because it's out of necessity. But I wouldn't kid ourselves. The first world markets will certainly get there. So we're taking an approach that we're talking to everyone. And we do that on an individual basis. Sometimes I'm engaging with corporations direct, and other ways through educational means like these sorts of videos to share the stories, what we're doing at Unido, what others are doing, and to really, I know I bang on about this a lot. This is more about having some Bitcoin in a wallet, and it can be your little side purse of savings. Soon, to engage with businesses such as yours, it's going to be in these ecosystem basis where you do need to hold the coin to play. So get prepared now. It's my constant message. I'm sure we're all annoyed by it, me repeating myself, but it's a matter of
Yeah.
get educated and get prepared. And then you can have your wallet on your phone and you can wait for the economy to catch up, or you can wait and do nothing and find you're unable to pay for the thing you wanted because you're behind the curve. It's a matter of education and an impetus
Yeah.
to get ahead.
Yeah, and you don't know that pain. Like, even it has caused me great pain, like to the point like, why am I doing this? This is so frustrating. There's so many steps. And I'm fine with bearing that pain right now because a lot of those are going to be removed in the near future. But of not having enough ETH in my wallet to swap over into Solana, and then my gas fees take out the ability to purchase the thing, right? So what I really liked about what you said is the market that you're serving, and those are the underserved markets that has a deep pain. Those SMBs, those people that, aren't the top feeder. Yeah, I'm on the Stellar network. I buy XLM. I have a Lobster wallet. I have a Phantom wallet. I have a MetaMask. I have all these. Now, I don't keep, and I don't advise, and you don't advise, keeping your money in an exchange. Get it out of there as fast as you can. Use
Yep.
products like Michael's. But the need, that's what I really love about this grassroots, is that the top is scared. And they're having to catch up to the bottom because they know that social movements happen when people are really fucking fed up of people taking away their hard-earned money. And that's where people like you come in. And that's where people like me are opening the context and the possibility to other small businesses that are like, why would I need that, right? Again, it's going back to having quality versus just quantity. And the top feeder is about quantity and getting the exchange and all those little things, and then saying to you, well, I'm sorry, we can't do that Swift over to here, and your money's stuck. And you're like, what the? It's my money, right? So applaud you, and I love your market. I love your niche in your market, and you're going to continue to grow into higher corporations. But that's what I love about this grassroots movement. And I fight with a lot of my friends. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2011. I did sell it for a C-suite company 4 years ago because I'm like, well, love my Bitcoin, but the utility just doesn't really, it just doesn't meet my needs. But I see the C-suite company being able to serve the privacy of C-suites that they're going to need this. So I saw the utility, I got out of Bitcoin, glad I did, and now it's over there. And I'm just, it's staked, it's held, it's fine. If it doesn't do anything, that's fine. I'm not losing money. My Bitcoin, got 4 of them, cost me $80. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I like to tell stories. Back over to you, Michael and Joe.
No, and I get it. And look, innovation comes usually from the bottom. It's hard to think of too
Yeah.
many super innovative things that came, especially in the technology space. Maybe Xerox, with the Windows 3.11 that came when Microsoft bought. They're a big corporation. Well, they were a corporation. Microsoft weren't at the time. There's so many more examples of founders who mortgage their house and quit their jobs and start from the bottom up because they had a pain point. It wasn't a matter of, why don't I quit my job and see if I can invent something, what needs to be invented. You're solving a problem that you deal with every day. So I think we've got the basis, we've got the tools with blockchain to solve issues, day-to-day issues. It's scalable, it's affordable. To get involved, you don't need a whole heap of infrastructure or capital outlay. But it's right for people with clever ideas to serve a problem in the market, such as exactly what you've done, or what Civic Ledger does with water rights. They're solving pain points. So all I take away from this is innovation starts from the bottom. We've got a really good tool set, which I think all of us can agree will be here for the future. Get thinking, folks, about how your business could benefit from blockchain, or if you're not in business and you're on the consumer side, have a think about what we've just said. Do you think your businesses you interact with will use blockchain, that they will build ecosystems, and how are you going to keep using their services? The answer for both is the same: education and getting prepared. That's what I bang on about every week on here with Joe.
Something also for coaches, there's so many coaches. I don't call myself a coach because I feel like we've really watered down what it is to be a coach and self-sovereignty as far as getting people where they need to go, which goes into trauma, because a lot of entrepreneurs hop into a system and it's copied from somebody else and they don't get the results, and then they feel like it's their fault. So then they drop out, they go back in isolation, and then they go try to figure it out, join another person's program because it's the next big thing. Web3 is the next big thing, but it's not about the next big thing. What was so attractive to me was about the transaction, that I could trust the transactions that I could see. I could understand that I'm ahead of the game, which I always am, so you either F yourself over or you actually do well, right? But the thing for me, I want coaches, I want healers, I want course creators to think about is transactions. Now, the way Web 2 was, and the way the ecosystems are in purchasing things, I buy this from you, you give me this. If I don't like it, I'm going to ask for a refund. And we've seen courses in all these ecosystems now have people making summits about how to juggernaut like a 30-day refund, but then how to get them out of it and then get them on a sales call to like seduce them and to manipulate them into feeling like their mindset isn't big enough. I'm done with that. It causes trauma in the industries at large, right? So we need to start thinking creatively about who am I, what quality do I bring, what value do I bring to the market. And for me, as a community builder, it's really about how can I enter a community that I can bring a lot of really epic leaders and pioneers into, so that we can really level each other up and hold each other accountable. Hard knock, right? Have tools that we all bring to the table. That's what a guild is. It's not about me like doing energy healing for people or sharing my courses. It's not transactional like that, right? So you're actually starting to create transactions with each other by humanity, by someone having a hard day and be like, dude, like, let's get on a fucking call. And you met that person because they're in the guild, and then the guild starts to become its own ecosystem of people sharing each other's services, people hiring people for different things, that you create your own mini economies where we're no longer having to run these subscription programs. Well, you have a 30-day guarantee. If you don't like it, you can do a chargeback. Like the blockchain, if you don't feel like you're getting value from Michael's service or you're not getting value from my service, cool. You made, hopefully, because my community is so epic, right? You made money on the upside because the coin that you held at first is going to go up every single day. It's not a guarantee, but it could happen. And when you no longer find that you need access to my community, you go sell your coin. And somebody else gets that coin and they come into my community and get blessed because of it. Cool. you fed your time here, didn't really match for you, or you love it, and you create something that's so strong, people don't want to leave. And that is the responsibility of a coin creator. It is the responsibility of an NFT creator. This is not fun and games. This is about up-leveling your responsibility, because everybody can see who's coming in and out of your community. And if you're not creating value, people will leave, and you will rug your community. So I just wanted to leave that precedence that it sounds really cool to create a subscription box and create a token and try to do all this fun stuff, but I don't want more information and I don't need more information. Yes, I have courses, but it's the interoperability of the SaaS software, of me having them prove to themselves that they're taking action and they're seeing the self-growth and the consciousness move with my SaaS software because they're engaged in self-leadership. So I just wanted to leave that in there. It's less transactional. It's about the transaction between people. And we need to stay clear on that. Otherwise, we will lose this entire framework of what we're creating.
I wish I were able to get a kickback from my internet service provider when I was done using their service. That would be nice.
And so many
You can sell the modem.
Yeah,
exactly.
For two bucks, because we're not, we're not going to use them. It's interesting too. I listened to a lovely Indian today over in India, and he said, we swap currencies, and we do that, but we don't want American dollars. We don't want real currency. We know that stuff is paper, so we go and we get gold. We go and we get silver. So I really believe we're working into raw materials, gold, silver, things of those kind of assets, and crypto. These currencies are going to be going away. And it's really hard for people to understand that. Really hard as an American to say, damn it, you totally shit all over my American money. But that's cool. So we're just going to go create our own currency, and we're going to make a hell of a lot more money because of it, because your big hand is going to be out of the center. So there's good things ahead.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the opportunity today. Michael, congratulations on your incredible business. I'm going to have you on
Likewise.
my podcast, and we'll have to talk about Unido and what you guys are doing. So.
Yep, let's do it, Kassandra. That would be amazing.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for this podcast. It was really insightful. Kassandra, thank you for telling us a little bit about Creator Coins and about your seed token. Everyone, you will be able to find the information of the seed coin and Kassandra's information down below in the description. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Unido Talks.
Thank you so much.